What up, what's up there, people? Sorry there was no Raw review Monday. Was busy this whole week. This last couple days I've been busy, so I wasn't really able to do a video. But today I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna review one, since Batman vs Superman is coming out next week. I'm gonna review all the Superman movies today, and then next Thursday I'll review all the Batman films. So today I'm gonna review all the Superman. Start with Superman the movie, then to Man of Steel. And tomorrow I'll probably do a reaction to one of Young Turk's videos. But today, let's just get this video started. So, Superman, one of the probably biggest superheroes of all time. I mean, him and Batman are probably, in my opinion, the two biggest superheroes of all time. Then there's Spider-Man, I would probably say is the third biggest. But Superman definitely is one of the top heroes of all time. And, I loved him as a kid. I mean, I respect the character, but I prefer Batman, personally. But he's had a couple of movies, so... What kicked off the Superman movie craze was Superman the movie, which came out in 1978, directed by Richard Donner. Was it Donner or Dorner? Donner, I think. Yeah, Donner, that's right. First Superman movie, Superman the movie, came out in 1978, played by Christopher Reeves. Lois Lane was played by Margaret Kidder. I thought, great movie, especially for the time. And I think people, with this movie, it's definitely a classic movie. You have a classic score, but I think people need to understand that these movies are very dated. Like, these movies now, to me, are very kind of cheesy. Like, they were definitely good back in the day, but for its time. But I feel like now these movies are definitely dated. And in my opinion, there's only been two. I love Christopher Reeve as Superman, but for me, the only really good Christopher Reeve movies were definitely the first two. 3 and 4 I'll get to, but definitely the really good ones were only 1 and 2. So the movie basically just tells the basic premise of Superman. I mean, it tells him how his planet Krypton was blown up, how his life, he lived on a farm with the Kents, and then he moved to Metropolis, became Superman, basically saves the day, saves the world, and his rival Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman, which I still think probably one of the best acted villains. I love Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. I think him and Christopher Reeve worked very well together. And it was scored beautifully by John Williams. So yeah, but Superman the movie is definitely an all-time classic. And I would rate it definitely 9 out of 10. Definitely. Then now we're on to Superman 2, which came out 2 years later in 1980. We brought in Zod, this is the debut of Zod, and then you had 2 other Kryptonian villains in this movie. Return of Lex Luthor. Christopher Reeve comes back. They explore Lois's and Superman's love, pretty much. It's really what they explored in this movie was definitely the relationship between Superman and Lois in this movie. The only thing, it's definitely a fun movie. Yeah, the Niagara Falls scene was kind of cheesy, but Superman 2 was definitely a step up to the first movie, I thought. I thought there were some cool scenes. And then momentarily when he loses his power, I thought it was kind of, cool how they explored that. The only thing I didn't like, I've always said this with Superman, his disguise is dumb. I'm sorry, I have to say it. How can no one not know that Lois Clark Kent is Superman? I mean, they're never in the same room together. All Clark does is just change his hair a little bit. That's the only difference. Never understood how Lois never noticed Clark was Superman. I don't understand how she never noticed that. But definitely, then in the movie, we see him fight Zod. and that was pretty cool. Zod and the other Kryptonians, that he fakes giving them power, and they lose. Oh yeah, he has like a machine that kind of makes him momentarily lose power. That's how they were able to defeat them. And then Superman takes Lex back to jail. It's pretty much the movie there. And Superman 2 is definitely a classic. Definitely really the really good one of the bunch. I would give it a 10. I personally think it was slightly better than the first movie. These are the only really good ones, in my opinion, until Man of Steel. Because the next, I would really say, 3 Superman movies have been just utter trash. Superman 3 came out in 1983. I don't even really remember the plot. It had Richard Pryor in it. Hold on. Let me look this movie up, guys. I have not watched this movie in so long. And even then, Superman 3 always, in my opinion, just never... The villain was these rich people... Yeah, Christopher Reeve still played his role well as Superman, but it's just bad storytelling. Eh. Oh, oh God. Oh, I guess Ross Webster. He was this villain guy. This movie, though, there was a cool part where you see Superman's not evil half, I guess. So Clark Kent, and they kind of this that part of the movie was definitely good when you see Superman and quote unquote Clark Kent taking on like his little corrupted side. It was kind of cool, and then he chokes him out, and then he finally turns back into regular Superman, and then it was definitely done well. I think that part was definitely done well. But the rest of the movie, the ending was very whatever. Superman saves Gus. There you go. That's pretty much the movie. Really, there's nothing to this movie. I'm gonna give it like a 2. Superman 3 is total trash. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, was pretty bad too. Was a pretty trash movie too. It came out 1987. It pretty much it went back to, like, they brought Lex back, but they brought in like some other villain that was supposed to be a not a clone, but like have Superman's DNA, called Nuclear Man. And this movie had a message, it was talking about nuclear weaponry, and Superman basically was trying to stop nuclear weapons, and he's trying to get rid of nuclear weapons, which, you know, and it just was a bad movie. But just like, and Superman, there's no plot to this movie. Like, besides that, like, really, you see Superman and Nuclear Man fight. They fight in space. Superman blocks his sun, so Nuclear Man gets taken out and just thrown into, like, an atomic, where they do the nuclear weaponry testing. And that's the end of the movie. Superman 4, I'll give it, like, a 3. I think it's slightly better than Superman 3. Like, that's just my opinion. It's slightly better than Superman 3, but Superman 4 is pretty bad, but slightly better than 3. Now on to Superman Returns, which came out in 2006. Chris Brandon Routh is now Superman in this movie. This movie is just utter trash. Like, this is a dog shit movie. Like, to me, this is the worst Superman movie of them all. I mean, I thought Superman 3 was bad, but I think Superman Returns was much worse, because Superman Returns, it basically was just a reboot of Superman the movie. Like, it had similar things, and the thing is, Brandon Routh to me wasn't a bad Superman. I thought he was okay. I just think it was just a bad movie. Same, like, and then Kevin Connolly, is that what his name is? Um, he's Lex in this movie, and I didn't think he was a bad Lex. This is once again just a bad writing and just. And I think Kate Bosworth was Lois. It's just Superman's like an illegitimate dad in this. It just makes no fucking sense. It just was a bad movie. They try to be classic. Oh, let's play the classic music, like, and all that. It was trying to be like one of the Reeve films, but it was just not. It failed. It just they stopped. That's why Superman Returns to me is still an awful movie. I'm giving it like a negative. I'm sorry, I don't normally do that, but I'm giving it a negative. Now, Man of Steel came out 2013. I remember seeing this when it came out. I love Man of Steel. Contrary to popular belief, and I know a lot of people, it's pretty much in between. There are people who like it, and there are some people just didn't. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a different take on Superman. Henry Cavill did really good as Superman. I thought he plays a really good Superman. Now we're kind of now see him play Clark. Like we're actually gonna see him as Clark Kent now. I mean, I would assume in Batman vs Superman that's really what it is, but Man of Steel was great. I thought you had Amy Adams as Lois. I think she probably, since Margaret Kidder was really good Lois. And I actually like, though, in this universe, there's no, oh, Lois doesn't know Clark's Superman. I'm actually happy she knows. Because I've never bought in that. I've never was able, how does she not know Clark's Superman? She sees Clark all the time. Superman saves her all the time. How would she not know Clark's Superman? Like, that's the thing. It just never made sense to me. I'm actually happy they decided to go in that direction and actually have him know he's Superman. But just really it told a really good story. I like the look on Krypton in this movie. Like I like that, they decided not to go with the ice design like in the other films. And then I think Russell Crowe was a great Jor-El. I thought he was a really good Jor-El. And then Michael Shannon was Zod. I actually like that Zod he's a beast. He was a badass villain. So basically Zod's plan, he tried to protect Krypton, but he ends up attacking it. They have a coup. They attack the leaders, and then Zod and Jor-El get in a fight, and Jor-El pretty much kills. Zod kills Jor-El. And then later you see Superman as an adult. But periodically throughout the movie, you'll see Superman have flashbacks, which is cool. It's cool. I like the way they did it in this film. They didn't just retold the whole story. They just, will show you in little flashbacks. And I know, and the thing is, the complaints about this movie, I mean, I guess I'll get to them, but just let me kind of finish the summary of the movie. So he finally learns about his history, learns about Krypton and all that, and he gets his suit. I like the new suit. I like that there's no ridiculous red underwear now. I actually like the new modern suit. I really liked it. To me, Superman the Man of Steel kind of reminded me of Superman the animated series, like from like the 90s. It kind of reminds me of that. That's kind of really why I enjoyed it, because it reminded me of that. You had Dr. Hamilton. We finally see him in a movie, because he's a character in the show, but he was really never acknowledged in the movies. So they finally brought him in. So basically, Superman has been living on Earth. So Zod finally finds Kal, and then basically he decides to take over Earth. And the way he does that with like the weather changer, I forgot what the machine was called, but terraforming, which basically it's changing the gravity, and it was done very well. I thought all that was well, and you had the ending fight between Zod and Superman, and then a surprising conclusion when Superman snapped Zod's neck. I mean, what other decision was he supposed to do? And the complaints, I think the complaints in this movie are annoying. Oh, there's too much destruction. There's always been destruction in Superman. In the comics, he's always been thrown through buildings. I don't understand why people act like that's not there's no destruction in any other one. There's been many other superhero movies that have destruction in it too, like Age of Ultron. The Hulkbuster Hulk fight. There was a lot of destruction in that. But people aren't bitching about that. And even in the show, I would say Justice League and all that, he's always been thrown through buildings. Why is this so surprising? And then I think because people, I've said this before, I think it's because people expected this to be like the Christopher Reeve films. Like they were supposed to be like that. Like, no, this is a new Superman for a new generation. And I actually like the more realistic Superman, to be honest. I like that they didn't do the ridiculous Lois didn't know Clark was Superman. I'm actually happy they're not doing that bullshit. Um, and I actually like that this whole in Superman in Batman vs Superman that they're doing this whole people are skeptical of Superman, and which I feel like that's really how it would be if he actually was real. People wouldn't just look at him as a hero immediately. That's the thing about the Donner films from the 70s. Like those were good, but those were very unrealistic. They just made Superman in this superhero, and that's what I like about this newer one. I actually like the realistic approach to Superman. But other than that, yeah, and I'm hyped for Batman vs Superman next week. Next week, I will review next Thursday review all the Batman movies now. So I've done all the Superman, so now I'm gonna do Batman. And then tomorrow I'm gonna do a video. And then other than that, guys, I think I'm gonna sign off here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.